what if we could just actualize the unicorn potential of that similar productivity of the major tech San Francisco, for example? We will be able to create 190 unicorn companies. Can you? Huge. So we are not able to, we're underutilizing this. But why is this related to you, most of the foreigners, right? Which is, you can fill in the gap. So here are some unicorn startups. I know it's highly debated, right? Pretty sure that most of you can debate. This is not a startup. Okay. Foreign startups who successfully enter the Japan market from their earliest stages. That's important. What does it mean? It's from Series A. You know, Series A means it's not that late, actually. It's still at an early stage startup. It doesn't indicate the time, but it indicates that our early stage in terms of funding and development stage. Who are these startups? The venture capitalists who invest into to you guys, right? You want to enter here, right? Obviously, some of them like very late stage VCs, like SoftBank and stuff like that. Japan is a CVC happen, guys. It's really heaven for CVCs. So total CVC's capital raise surged from $140 million in 2013 to $3.4 billion in 2024, almost 25 times. Oh my God! So it's pretty sharp decline. It's pretty getting popular. Government organizations and cities, you probably see them on the social media, especially this Shibuya Startup Support very active and TIB very active and so on. Obviously, the fourth largest ecosystem. So 29 in the digital competitiveness ranking. So potential for SaaS market growth. Aim for a huge FDI investment, foreign direct investments exist. SaaS adoption is 49%. It has a, for me, like giant market, like blue ocean. So today's topic is all about how you can come here as a business, start a business, or if you're an existing business, you can also come here and start your business, right? This is the topic. So I am a business owner as well, and also I'm a supporter of startups in many different ways. So thank you so much for Venture Cafe for giving this opportunity. So let's kick this off. All right, everyone, welcome to the Go-to-Market Japan, State of Japan's Startup Ecosystem. So today we'll be diving into the topic that getting the most popular among the early stage startups as well. So the topic is actually generally popular with the existing business who wants to come to Japan, but among the startups also are getting started popular because of government policies also changes and started to try to attract the entrepreneurs who want to start a company here. So it's an alternative career choice also. So it's a kind of like one of the major career choices in overseas, but here also start getting popular. So I will try to cover the why the Japan can be an alternative market for startups, and to start a company or come bring here, or as an established company as well, to find a market, resources, and here as well. So I will introduce to the overall the market. So my name is Erdinc Ekinc. I am proudly leading 3 different entities, which is one is the Open for My company, and Co-Capital is coming soon, and it's in the VC, and Founder Institute. Most people know me from the Fundraising, it's an Accelerator program, and I'm going to introduce very soon. All of these entities based out of Silicon Valley from the US, you know, but I'm operating here in Japan. So last 6 years, and also working with the cross proximity countries as well nearby. My expertise is around like GTM, like go-to-market, right? Anyway, so partner ecosystem development and community building. So I have both advisory and hands-on experience on that. I'll try to explain what we have done here so far, working with governments, corporate startups, and so on. But predominantly, especially last couple of years, mostly startups. You know, with the Accelerator program that I'm running. So I will do my best to connect with my own personal experiences. So here's a quick disclaimer. So I have to say this one, unfortunately, I'm trying to launch a VC. So this event is information purpose only and not a solicitation or endorsement of any investments. Investing involves high risk, and please consult professionals. Opinions are my own. Done. Okay. So also this webinar kind of like a MVP version. So I'm not gonna do more stuff than that. I'm open to collaboration. So if you want, we can definitely do it together. Let's dive in. So general agenda is just like this, like Japan startup ecosystem intro, major players, and actionable strategies, and wrapping up with some stories. Okay, let's get started. So first, we're gonna have a look to the overall Japan ecosystem, right? Let's start with the chapter 1, which is the introducing startup ecosystem outlook. I'm going to talk a little bit, give some data, okay? So first off, the growth of I'm going to give a quick mention the startup when we see deals happening here in Japan. So the growth of startup deals in Japan from 2013 to 2023, this is the available data I find, so it shows that increase in the both numbers of deals and then their total values. But it's not all about you get funding or not, but it's an important factor to see that the ecosystem is hot, right? It's hot. So over the decade, the total value grew significantly, reaching 7.4 billion USD in 24, before declining slightly due to overall monetary tightening. Starts from the 2021 crisis, and the compound growth rate of this is the 25%, which is really significant, honestly. It's growing. So domestic startup fundraising also increasing as well. This is the half-yearly chart. So this chart shows that how much money startups in Japan have raised every half of the year, from comparing from 14 to 2024. You can see this steady climb over the years. There is some bumps and downs for sure. The average median fundraising value also overall increasing actually. Okay, so and then this is very interesting data, but this I was able to find this until 2021, this data. So research and development budgets versus VC investments is it's similar. I mean, it's not matching. So one of the issues here, like technology, mostly in the universities here, is one of the highest in terms of the tech advantage, top number 4 per GDP R&D expenditure, but the VC investments is literally on the floor. So it's not. It shouldn't be like this way, right? It means it's a clear sign that it doesn't get out from the university to get a real market. The commercialization is kind of issue. So, and if you look at underlying issues, there are many issues. Okay, so Tokyo is actually ranking in science and tech in the university's perspective is the highest. Can you believe that? So, but as you can see in the real life, it's not that implemented, right? Integrated. So, but in terms of venture capital, 2021 data, 21st. All right. So unicorn potential, what if we could just actualize the unicorn potential of that similar productivity of the major tech hubs like San Francisco, for example, we will be able to create 190 unicorn companies. Can you? Huge. So we are not able to, we're underutilizing this. That's sad. But why is this related to you, most of the foreigners, right? Which is, you can fill in the gap. Opportunity. And so here are some unicorn startups. I know it's highly debated, right? I'm pretty sure that most of you can debate. This is not a startup. Okay, they can't. It's like Rakuten is a startup. You might be not be agree. So that's why I write there like or was a startup. So it's not that much to clear the data out there. It was so hard to find even this unicorn started to define that. So these are some snapshot. It's increasing, right? So one of the most recent deal. It's also debatable like is it a unicorn or not? Which is the Sakana AI. The AI is getting hot, right? AI and semiconductor getting so. Here are some examples. You can also do the same. Foreign startups who successfully entered the Japan market from their earliest stages. That's important. What does it mean? It's from Series A. Series A means it's not that late, actually. It's still an early stage startup. It doesn't indicate the time, but it indicates that our early stage in terms of funding and development stage. Pretty good. Like some of the most well-known startups was able to get in here very early stage, but with the right partnerships. The core keyword there is the partnerships, right? So let's have a look at chapter 2, the ecosystem players. I'm going to be introducing you what are the core ecosystem players. Joke aside, we are align this chart based on the earliest stage possible support system, legitimate worldwide know programs out there. You might not be able to find our list in some of the lists out there because we don't provide the investment terms initially. So, but we facilitate this collaboration environment that you will probably get in funding. So if you look at the data, it's like almost half of them able to get funding, our startups who join our programs. So we don't provide direct investment, but we facilitate this ecosystem. So fundraising to our organization. In terms of pre-seed, Antler is of them, and seed focus is 500 tech startup book, and also Alchemist, Berkeley, Skydeck, and so on. Plug and play invest in a variety of positions, and so on. So here are some foreign-income startup friendly VCs. So you might be curious, right? Are you curious? Who are these startup? The venture capitalists who invest to you guys, right? You want to enter here, right? So obviously, some of them like very late stage VCs, like SoftBank and stuff like that. But there are the foreign friendly, extremely early stage funds as well. So for example, Incubate Fund. East Ventures. For example, Social Ventures is a really interesting story here because these kind of companies, and go back right now, mostly coming from Social Ventures portfolio. Huge shout out them, respect them, and love them so much. Late stage VC focusing on the GTM focus. So to bring into here, they invest you and bring in here, but being able to get, that's why they have that tight criteria. But it's amazing. You search their name, you will find a lot of contents. Pretty doing great job. It's a kind of like bridge fund between Palo Alto and Tokyo, Silicon Valley here. So, okay, large enterprises who is foreign friendly. Again, take my suggestion with a grain of salt because this is important for you to really get to know these companies because you will probably, if you're looking for a job or if you're looking for companies like partner, POCs, stuff like that, get investment and so on. So CVCs, CVC means like corporate who also has a fund. Japan is a CVC happen, guys. It's really heaven for CVCs. What does it mean is Japan is hosting over 200 active corporate branches at the time with CVCs. A sharp raise from the 42 in 2013. In a single year, 142 new funds were launched at the time, which highlighting the growth of trends of corporations investing in innovation. So total CVC's capital raise surged from $140 million in 2013 to $3.4 billion in 2024, almost 25 times. Oh my God! So it's pretty sharp decline. It's pretty getting popular, and also one of the another category of popularity is getting popular is they are launching separate funds to be able to like independent funds as well. What CVC means that you can also compare here with the difference there. They generally seek a strategic alignment between you. So it's a collaborative capital, all right? I know there are a lot of challenges, but you should try, come on. So basically they seek this strategic alignment. You can see here, the architecture of the deals is a bit different. The LPs different, right? They are the one who own the LPs. The goals are a bit different. The benefits of the startups, maybe I should tap in here a little bit. VC provides money network and scale expertise, and a bit more independent, but the CVCs they're deep into their own industries and they have a huge network. It can be very useful, market knowledge and deep into the market, brand reputation, network, and that sort of thing. But it needs to be executed very well. So I'm on a venture capital VC and the corporate CVCs. Investments in Japan, the first quarter of 2019 is third in the quarter of 2024, and by type. And so on. So let's have a look at the government organization and cities. You probably see them on the social media, especially this Shibuya Startup Support very active and TIB very active and so on. And general startup supporters, Jetro, Nedo, JICA is one of some of the most common ones that I also personally collaborate all of them before, but in different capacities. Anyways, so city-specific startup programs just like this, if you're targeting, there are much more than them, by the way. And they generally tends to be foreign friendly and so on. Okay, startup communities, the Venture Cafe, the first logo here, and it's GIC, of course, second logo. Most of them are here pretty supportive and generally 70% foreign-led, so you can easily collaborate. So Tokyo AI is very interesting if you're interested in the AI stuff, like they're popular right now. A lot of new members doing a lot of events. Jetro supported them a lot. Tokyo Startup Lunch, if you're looking for small communities, every Tuesday lunch. All right, the chapter 3. We're going to have open mic sessions, so bear with me. So the Japanese ecosystem is unique sites. I'm going to brag about Japanese ecosystem here, okay? The first is obviously the fourth largest ecosystem. It dropped from the third. It's okay, still big. So 29 in the digital competitiveness ranking. The number is low, right? 29, but it's an opportunity for you. That's why I should put it here. So potential for SaaS market growth because there are a lot of emptiness. Opportunity zones exist, so you can also aim for it. Huge FDI investments, foreign direct investments exist. SaaS adoption is 49%. It has for me, like giant market, like blue ocean. But yeah, anyway. But it's hard to sell. I'm gonna share some tips. How the industries are, obviously AI, like everything has it's just like electricity. Like everything has an AI right now, so it doesn't that much define. But semiconductor is huge right now. So again, you might be hearing a lot of news, right? QCI region, many stuff going on in media and things like that. Biotech, pharma, all the deep tech, pretty good. New materials, space, obviously. Interesting in creative industries. The famous Silicon Valley BDAS list, the VC recently launched an article. You should go and check it out. That one. Manga Eating the World. That's the title. Manga Eating the World. Just read it. Okay. So evolution of the startup ecosystem here. So pre-19. In a short, key takeaway is that Japan ecosystem is evolved very significantly. That's my conclusion. Traditionally, from the rigid, risk-averse things as actually coming behind, we are leaving behind. It's now thriving ecosystem that innovation friendly. You can hear from the boardrooms a lot. Innovation, we should do something like a lot of things you can say. Luckily, it used to be not like this. Like 6 years before, it wasn't like this. Labor mobility also getting increasing. VCs are increasing activities and so on, raising a lot of money and so on. This is like the SWOT of Japan in a nutshell. So strong economy, good tech units, government support increasing. But weaknesses are risk aversion. It's one of the biggest problem. Risk aversion, but we're gonna overcome. It's gonna take time. And then when the generation passes, things increases. You know the reason. So funding also limitations also exist, but there is a room to grow, as I mentioned before, and so on. So there is an opportunity zone is actually the global growth, deep tech, and corporate collaborations are a lot. So, and then threat is regional competition increasing, economic resistance, slow innovation. All right, here are some ecosystem challenges. Fragmentation and silo type of things a lot. So what do the foreign companies tends to misunderstand in Japan? It's not a quick place to get in. Sorry, I really want to talk positive on that, but it's not that easy. But new things that we are talking right now, right? I'm introducing is actually it's getting a lot easier, right? Yeah. So it's a lot of room to grow. If we can really collaborate, we are trying to build this collaborative environment that we can all partner and then help you to get into here, right? I'm going to also a little bit show about the visas and stuff like that. So English proficiency is not that good, as obviously decision making speed is so slow. So don't expect this, everything you see in there. Universal technology adoption is kind of falling behind. So if you're thinking about that, you have something for one size fits all, so it's wrong to be targeting here. But there are some examples, benchmarks, that case studies that are able to succeed here without making so much localization. So if your expectations can be go wrong, which is cultural sensitivity, long-term perspective, they're looking for from you, and this is what they're expecting from you, and demonstrating the value. Okay, you should be giving the excessive amount of value and high quality and superior technology, superior communication, everything. The expectation is pretty high, but isn't it a good thing, right? So getting the customization they're expecting and tailoring customization. They want you to be skin in the game, like they really want you to be all in. If you can really sustain this, you can succeed. Actionable strategies to enter Japan. Let's go. Welcome to Japan, right? So we choose people who apply, but you have my likelihood to get into the programs like this. You can, if you're a very early stage startup, you can definitely use accelerator programs. Please use it. So incredible amount of support that we provide. Network, more than 200 mentors in this region that we have. So they all hungry to help you. Okay. So also, you can, if you're a little bit later stage, you can strike joint venture partnerships. But it's all about really partnerships. Then you can utilize the partnerships more simple way. Not doesn't have to be like strategic partnerships level, right? And resellers and distribution also one of the most important thing you can either utilize. I have a program for this teaching only partnerships perspective. So you can go check it out my social media or on LinkedIn. So as a summary, it's like you can really fill the gap that Japanese companies are lacking of. So that could be one of the earliest opportunities, simplest opportunity that you can be filling the gap. But you need to create the market awareness and educate the audience and the customers and decision makers. Those are the challenges. It's not that easy than the other counterparts in the overseas. Yeah, so domestic startups can be might not be able to fit in that gap, so you can. So advantages for foreign startups, like you localize a solution, you can enter here, could be alternative strategy for you. And then you have a speed. So this is something that is kind of lacking, but you can really utilize this well. But if you pair with a superior strategy, well execution, and then these are the recipe for success, in my opinion. So what is the advantage for you? Why I'm trying to convince you to come here, right? As a start a company, coming here. So it can be really huge validation for you, number one, right? This is kind of, I think it's a cliche, but it's true because that's why it's become a cliche. If you can make it in Japan, it's really good validation for you. That's my message in here. But what I want to say in the importance of localization means you really need to respect the culture here and then a little bit localize and align your product services or at least the communication if you really want to all in here. It might not be your highest priority because, and for our case, we prioritize companies who wants like English on the website is English, everything like high speed, like global audience. But you can also utilize if you want to be all in. This is a part of your. If this is part of your strategy, you should be like localized, language wise, contextual wise, and you should be working with the professionals, natives from that. But if you're looking for a quick entry, which is I'm going to show you, you can use the foreign friendly ecosystems like I talked today, right? As a sandbox. Sandbox means in a way children playground if they fall down, so this is protects them, right? So in that sense that I'm trying to, as an analogy, you can use the foreign friendly ecosystem like ours, or communities, to enter here smoothly. I know it might not be enough with sufficient resources and market for you. It works. So it's for my case, I brought Open for Co and Founder Institute, and now recently Co-Capital, right? So these three different brands, and I'm not even including the clients, startups, the government programs, anything that I did as projects and stuff like that. I'm not even including them. According to my experience, like I always use the foreigners. So for example, LinkedIn, you should be using it. I know even though just 3 million people users they have, extremely useful. Everything I have done is on LinkedIn actually. My entire CRM is LinkedIn. I would like to finalize with the partnership angle, which is the partnership, the keyword. But I'm not saying that in a way that is, you should be seeking deep joint ventures, boring. So there is something called market point of contact partners. Basically, you find a friend in your dream market. That friend supports you with internal information. Whenever you need, you can call, ask opinions and stuff like that. So it's a very simple way of partnering, actually. So early stage possible. There is a lot of other things. If you're a little bit more like seed level, maybe you might want to seek the POC projects. I mean, you should be seeking on the pre-seed too, but there has to be companies who already have existing systems and programs like that. Anyway, what does it mean partnership means 1 + 1 equals more than 2, right? So there has to be add value to your partner. It's not only about for big companies. It's also really useful for even idea stage startups. Very strategic level, it can be really practical. Every day you can strike partnerships, collaboration. You can come up with a collaborative idea that you can get traction of your business and so on. And startups can utilize for especially GTM is very extremely useful. For Japan case, of course, and you can also check out our platform. We will put together a marketplace that companies are open for collaborations. You can check why they're open, what kind of programs they have, over DTS. So you can also, in a couple of clicks, you go good to go. You can strike partnership with the big companies as well, or the startups as well. So we make it so easy for you and free. Come on, just do it, right? Everybody has a phone, right? Just do it. Anyways, so this is, if you can utilize partnerships, we make it easy, and we also teach you how to do. So one of the most important things, what is in it for them, right? So there is the companies that are open for collaborations, for also in Japan as well, and they have programs, they have POC things. But what if your product is not that ready? What if that your messaging is not resonating with them, right? So we help you to do that. So you need to be really laid down what they want. We use a lot this in terms of explaining the spectrum of the collaborations. So, for example, Raisa, now you're hosting the kind of video podcast, right? So this is like actually a typical collaboration project, actually. So I see these kind of things a lot trending. So especially content partnerships, putting together one research report that, for example, I'm going to do this one the same because I want to extend this research. So I'm going to ask people to collaborate on this. So maybe I can feature them. We can build a relationship. It's very good practical sense, very good, very useful for practical building relationships. In Japan, relationships is very important, relationship building. So and collaborations are a nice excuse, right, for doing that. But again, equity zone, hard strategic partnerships, lawyer stuff, it's in the end of the spectrum. You should not be stuck in with the hard part of it. So there is the easier transactional everyday collaborations like definition partners exist. Again, it's all about what's in it for them. You need to be providing them an ask and offer, right? MPC partnership means I just mentioned before. This is the most important thing about the partnerships aspect that for today, for GTM focus, because, for example, if you want to enter the Dubai market, you can find a friend there, they can help you out. you can get the insider internal information from the market. Okay, so those are the final steps that explains how you can enter the Japan market easily. You can find a point of contact partner. I can be yours, for example, if you're just visiting here. Serve like this point of contact partner just for friendship purpose. It's a collaboration for me. Step 2 is join or build a community. Again, you can do with us. Find your local partners. Again, you can do with us. And make collaborations with the target customers to build the relationship, like a POCs and stuff like that. You can also leverage Japanese investors to get into the Japan market also. I was giving an example of the VC that I was, Sosa Ventures. So this is a good example of the VCs that you can collaborate to get into the market, but it can be very selective. So POC part, it means proof of concept. Basically, doesn't have to be your real end product, but it's a project that can be a bit customizable to prove your business model, your startup works. POCs are very popular in Japan because corporations are eager to collaborate with you, all of you, right? There has to be real common ground like this, like proper common ground to do that. There are a lot of cultural business factors involved to help ease these challenges. That's why it's very popular POCs. There are also practical benefits. It provides a tangible proof. Alignment with the business practices also. There are many reasons again. And customization, usability for them. It's also kind of like an alternative way of procurement for them, but it's getting popular. There are again a lot of room to grow. Hey, you can also utilize the initial hirings again as easy as possible. You can utilize contractors to here, country managers or local leaders. You can call it this way, or advocators of your product in Japan market. Communities like our community or popular event series. Now even podcasts are doing here this kind of local leadership thing. For example, All in podcasts doing some events here. Startup communities also doing. So you can also utilize that kind of things here. You don't have to hire. You don't have to hire. You can just contract or make a local leader or a contractual partnership you can make in order to just enter a platform here. Like you need to have roots in the. I should not do it. So okay. So there are multiple visa options available. I know they are not like super long. Just starting from 6 months. There are new options that are coming up. Right. One of them is the startup visa. I guess the most common visa is the highly skilled professional visa. But you don't have to find a job. So if you're a startup founder, you can utilize the startup visa. A business manager visa also a very common visa type for coming startups to enter here. And if you're an investor, business manager, you utilize this too. So there is also self-employed visa comes out, for freelancers. So it's getting popular. This is why I message. You can also Google it always. Have a look if you're looking for. And let's share off some friends who has providing really great information about the startups and the community because you want to know the market, right? You should know the market, obviously. So the Step in Japan is pretty good podcast and good content. Scale in Japan, shout out. But my favorite among them is the Scale Your Company, Scale in Japan podcast. Is pretty useful information. And wrapping up with some existing things. All right, so I'm an expat, fraud immigrant here. Came here 6 years ago. That's my story. And I, everything I tried to build here, tried to launch here, was my own problem. And the problem of the other foreigners and friends and stuff. I wasn't able to collaborate with anyone, honestly. I have experiences on launching and failing companies. But it was a really foreign market for me. It was very challenging. I wasn't able to find a community right before COVID became. And then COVID came, so we decided to build a community instead, right? So we couldn't be a part of this because we couldn't find it. So we decided to make online events first, conveniently. So, and then in-person events and so on. So I wasn't able to be part of a community, so we built one, but I wasn't able to get into an accelerator because I just couldn't find a proper accelerator at that time, like 6 years ago or 5 years ago or so. And then our model, because I was kind of outside and an underdog, I don't think that we could even get it. I actually applied some of them, but they didn't even reply. So maybe they don't even know how to reply. So we built one. So we brought one here, right? So now I was also struggling to make fundraising actually. So we decided to build one. So step by step. So if this is your problem, this also can be your solution. It can be useful for everybody. So this is like this.
Hi. My name is Salima. I'm an exchange student in Yokohama. Yeah. So my question for you is, why did you come to Japan? What's the reason?
Actually, not only marriage. She's not even Japanese, It's a foreigner. Also have a lot of challenges, similar challenges. But she was 5 years earlier than me to come here. But we met in the US in a hacker house that owned by the Japanese owner who has four kids. We were living like 15, 20 people in the same house in a bunk bed, and she was charging like $1,500 for a bunk bed. But anyway, this is Silicon Valley, right? So we met there, and it was Japanese community. I find some customers to come here. So, I realized that, my solution can be very useful for a Japanese enterprise. Then I struggle. I literally bankrupt in the US. I go there, as I'm Turkish, right? I go there for a project. I'm bankrupt, literally, like financially also. I find customers there, and then I find her also. Our relationship start. That's why we decide to try here. It's a kind of mixed business plus. So I didn't come here for looking for a job, but I thought I could make more money, which it worked well. But it didn't make our startup with a very high growth, company, because we didn't get funding either, fully bootstrapped. People who is expert in this topic, any advice? Elen?
I'm an exchange student also. I'm studying architecture, and so maybe my question is maybe more related to that. Like, have there been any firms with like an architectural background that have come to seek investment, like in your experience?
Not from Japan, from US, and for my own country also had, there were some solutions.
What's your experience with that in the US specifically then, if you have some
Those are, it was just, accountancies, it's not, we didn't get into the project, we just exchanged, make a couple of meetings, that's it. Because of the AI, they need to pivot it, because they were trying to do something like interior design, automated interior design program system that users need to do, but now AI comes and you show the pictures, you can do the design easy. So I would like to introduce to Evan. So Evan is one of our mentors at the Fundraising Institute program and a friend of mine, and been living here pretty long time.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I don't know if that's worthy of applause, but yeah, so my name's Evan. I've helped several Silicon Valley and Israeli companies enter the Japanese market. So I've run the whole go-to-market function, everything from, spinning up the initial team, creating the entity, running marketing and sales and so on. And in between, I've done several startups of my own. So I'm on number 4 right now, Kimaru AI. We just graduated from one of those accelerator programs, the Alchemist Accelerator, and we had our demo day just a few weeks ago. So if anybody has any questions, one thing that I thought when I was looking at the slides there is that it was a little bit high level in terms of the types of structure that's available for entering the market, but not really the tactics per se. So what I've always really focused on is like, how do you actually sell in Japan? So if anybody wants to know how to run a direct sales function or run marketing functions and that kind of thing.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Aji. So my question is, I know in Japan, the society is big on SDGs, sustainability and the likes. And so has there been, in your experience, do you think there is some form of, in terms of sales, when you're selling as a startup who is trying to solve maybe one of these SDG goals, and as well as maybe a startup who is doing some SaaS and all that, is there some form of difference in strategies, and how do you think the local governments, the prefectures, approach, these kind of startups, the ones who are focused on SDGs versus the ones who are focused on software as a service?
SDGs, of course, there's a lot of awareness around it, and there are a lot of companies who are aligning their formal strategy with SDG and ESG initiatives. If you're looking to enter the market, your probably best play there is with the CVCs, because CVCs are essentially the outsourced R&D departments of these larger corporations. Japanese companies, of course, are risk adverse, and so it's difficult for them to do new plays. They spin up CVCs usually to try and essentially outsource innovation, right? So they're very receptive when it comes to SDG and ESG plays there. The question's a little hard to answer because it's very broad, right? There's a lot that goes into what is an SDG play. But I would add to that, your market fundamentals have to be solid, right? Nobody is going to buy a service just because of an SDG angle if there isn't a clear ROI. So you have to have your solid metrics in place. You have to have a good go-to-market strategy. You have to have a good sales function in place. maybe I'll piggyback onto that. For any GTM strategy, I highly recommend a direct sales function. So you talked a little bit about partnerships and different ways of working with referral partners, distributors, reseller partners, and that kind of thing. In my experience, you always have to treat them as very top of funnel. You're always going to have to actually run your direct sales function yourself.
Thank you so much.
My name is Nick. I'm a Japan regional manager for Ethereum kind of event. It's supposed to be happening this summer. And I have a question about the data you showed that Japanese college students ranked one of the top in the world, but VC is not really involved in converting their technology into the product. We're trying to have all the college students get involved in developing Ethereum technologies. How do we kind of do that?
Run hackathons is very useful, and the number of hackathons is very lacking here. If you look at the active ecosystems, hackathons are really popular. People get together and create projects. It's pretty useful. I mean, this is a kind of shortcut, easy event that everybody can do actually. That's my could be a suggestion to do.
The best pathway to patents in the Japanese ecosystem is via universities. Most patents are filed by universities. And so if you tap into that potential, most of the professors will encourage anything that they think might be patentable. And recently in the startup ecosystem, people don't really talk about patents that much. We tend to talk about executing more so than creating this kind of legal moat around technology. But if you look at the success of economies by the number of patents registered, it actually is a really strong contributing factor. And it's it used to be one of the traditional strengths of the Japanese ecosystem. So it's definitely something that universities are aware of and they want to encourage. So around the Ethereum technology, if you can tap into the idea that anything that they're building, maybe through hackathons, could be patentable, it could contribute to the university's research, that taps into the established KPIs of both the professors and the universities.
Hi, I have a question. My name is Ariel. My company right now is the opposite of digital. It is analog. I work in healthcare. I'm a chiropractor. And so I've just opened my chiropractic practice here in Tokyo about 4 months ago. And so I'm learning a lot as I go. This is my third practice that I've built in my career, but the first one in Japan. And I've never sought out external funding before, but I am curious about that ecosystem here. I have no idea how to even go about looking for funding. And do you have any insight on the difference between a digital startup versus a brick and mortar like mine?
First off, to start up the company has to be ready for fundraising, even ready for seeking the capital, overall structure things. It doesn't have to be on a digital company or tech-based actually, but there has to be some sort of innovation. Something creates marginal output, performs much better, efficient than other businesses. Maybe you could put together a platform with other chiropractors. Maybe you could create a brand out of this and bring all together all the other. You could be a leader on that. So this is something can be we're looking for the businesses who can be really grow a lot, 1,000 times maybe, and effectively grow. It doesn't have to be minus lose making growth. So your business needs to be ready for getting this funding. Plus, you need to show the way how you can make the business grow this much effectively with the marginal output. If you can convey this meaning, if you can communicate well, after that maybe you should be talking with the investors, because investors it's a really niche product actually. Only I guess 3% or something like this startups able to get funding, and others maybe shouldn't even get funding actually. It might not be even a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've always just focused on kind of a one-woman show, so to speak, and so I've never wanted external funding because it really wouldn't suit me, but there is such an opportunity here in Tokyo. I'm the only foreign woman chiropractor in the entire country, so there is yeah, from a business standpoint.
It's actually newsworthy. So you can find a way to grow the business, your business. Maybe increase your pricing tickets or a number of customers or more people working under your practice. And actually, you have something newsworthy. Doesn't even have to be a startup. You can be really generate a lot of revenue and grow the company. This angle doesn't have to be venture backed, actually.
Yeah. So as an angel investor, which I do from time to time when I'm not running a startup, the ROI that an investor looks for has to be, considerably high and consistent every year, right? So you have to have, profit margins that continue to grow year over year. That's really very difficult to do in that type of business. So it wouldn't match the established format for like angel or institutional investing. But what I was thinking is we have a contact, Kanai-san. His website is kanaico.com. But Kanai-san, what he does is essentially advise people on subsidies for starting businesses. So this type of business would be a perfect fit for these subsidies, which are usually government-backed subsidies to help people get started up with startups, which may not fit that sort of rocket ship growth potential, but still are essential. And thank you for your service, by the way. I owe so much to my chiropractor because he totally fixed my back last year. But yeah, it's the type of business that you're not going to have like $1 billion unicorn exit unless you maybe go into one of the business models that Erdinc was talking about there. But you would give away so much, right, to take on investment that's not usually very attractive. But a subsidy could be.
Thank you so much for the opportunity for Venture Cafe. Thanks for everyone coming here.